Hello, everybody, and welcome to CW Live. My name's Chris Webb, Head of Communications at the CW. Delighted to have you all with us for a really important session. You can see by the title of the session that the strikes will go ahead on the 23rd and the 24th of December. We've got our General Secretary, Dave Ward, with us. We've also got our Acting Deputy General Secretary, Andy Fury, with us. Dave and Andy are going to essentially take you through what's happened in the last 48 hours. Going to answer some of the key questions that are out there, and then we're going to basically let you know that we've got to do it again, and we've got to get on those picket lines, and we've got to keep applying the pressure and keep taking us toward victory in this dispute, which I'm sure you'll all agree once you hear from Dave and Andy, that's the route we're on. So you can let us know where you're watching from, let us know how long you've been a union member, get those on screen, let us know you're ready to go on the picket line, get as many of those up on screen, share the link, tag your colleagues, get the news out there, so as many people as possible watch this session. We've already got 6,500 of you on, which is incredible considering we didn't even have time to advertise the session. Whilst you're busy doing that, I'm going to ask Dave if he can open with a few words first. Over to you, Dave.
Yeah, okay. Hi, everybody. Thanks for coming on again at short notice. It really is incredible that so many of you are ready to do that at the drop of a hat. So look, we've had a meeting this afternoon, started at 12 o'clock with ACAS. We've not long finished that meeting with Royal Mail there. Simon Thompson did attend the meeting in the end. And it was an interesting meeting. And I would summarise it by saying that the company are clearly starting to shift their position now. And that's only come about as a result of the strikes. But to be truthful, in terms of cancelling these strikes, and we've been in this position before with the company, it was too little, too late. Some of the big issues are still there in terms of, how we deal with the change, how we deal with the amount of job losses that are going to be arising from the change as they see it, the issues on later starts, issues of the model, which we're not, that they're saying that's what to enable us. We've got a procurement. No compulsory redundancies in the statement they made on that, great on that listening, to get them to put other commitments in around the fact that to make that plan come to life, then they've got to really all their other plans around different resourcing models involving agency workers, owner-driver workers, and obviously new entrants on lower terms and conditions. They're not shifting their position on pay. On later starts, we're still a long way apart at the moment. So for all those reasons, we've got no choice but to carry on with the planned strikes on the 23rd and 24th. We have said to the company that after the Christmas break, we're willing to carry on meeting immediately between the eves and also early in January. And there is a little bit of a natural break there for us to get back round the table. So we've committed to doing that, and obviously if the company are up for that, we'll do that. But I think our message to you tonight is that we've really got to maintain the pressure now. It's clearly starting to work. We're hearing different conversations starting to emerge that haven't been there previously. And the only way we're going to continue in that way and keep the pressure on and get an agreement in the end is obviously to make sure the strikes are supported on 24th. We know you're going to do that. We know you're with us. So thanks for all your support going into the strikes this week.
Dave, highly unusual, but we've got some Wi-Fi issues. So I'm wondering if you could go over the first bit again. I'm sorry, Muddy. The first bit again in terms of how the meeting went. Just the end bit was good, I think, but our Wi-Fi here at CWHQ is playing up, and I think Andy's is as well. So we're not having much tech.
All right, okay.
Sorry.
So yeah, let me just repeat the first bit. The strikes are going ahead. An interesting meeting at ACAS. The CEO was in attendance. A better meeting than we've had in previous weeks, and unfortunately too little too late from the company at this stage on all of the key issues. So for that reason, what we're saying is we've got to maintain the pressure now, and I think you heard the back part of that as well. So yeah, hopefully that picked up the key message at the start.
Thank you, buddy. It's really helpful. So I'm going to bring now, if I can, Andy, and Andy's got he's come back on camera. So we're going to give you, Andy, I'm going to ask you really, because obviously the members are overwhelmingly, first of all, beyond the union, which is fantastic. So we're really, really proud of everyone letting us know you're back in the union. You're going to be on the picket line both Friday and Saturday. It's absolutely inspirational. But quite a few people, Andy, are saying, like, what is the point of these continued discussions at ACAS? And a few people saying, like, do we lose our leverage once we take this action? They're going to take the action, no problem. A little bit worried when the mail gets a bit lighter in January, etc., that we might have missed our moment. Andy Fury.
So thanks, Chris, and good afternoon, everybody. The first thing I'd like to say is thank you and well done for the dispute last week. I had the pleasure of addressing our Scottish members outside the Scottish Parliament, and that was a great session. Over 1,000 of our members there, and speakers from MSPs.
Andy, I'm going to ask you to turn your camera off, buddy.
Okay, yeah. So look, yeah, we had a good event rally in Edinburgh outside the Scottish Parliament last week, which was brilliant. In terms of the questions, do we lose any leverage beyond Christmas? No, not at all. Look, this dispute was never about Christmas. We started it off in August. It's gone through the subsequent months, and if we need to go again, we will. The post executive met yesterday and has got some planning in place for January, and of course we got the ballot that we to go again, and we will be putting in planning. The post executive is going to be meeting very early January to plan. Look, we're absolutely committed to finding a resolution to this dispute. The union fundamentally believes that there should be an outcome, an agreed outcome. We want an agreement. We want an agreement that our members can get behind and can claim.
There, and he's lost all his sound and everything. So I suppose the point around was, around people thinking that we might have missed the opportunity with a Christmas action.
No, definitely not. I think Andy did say that before he got cut off. I mean, look, the dispute is about the continuing pressure that we put on Royal Mail to find a resolution. I want to echo Andy's point that our objective is to reach an agreement. I think we've seen the first signs in the last week or so that the company is starting to shift their position after going on about their best and final offer. I think they boxed themselves in on that. And as I said earlier on, I think the reality is that, it's too little too late, but we continue to put the pressure on in January. It's the actual strike action itself that is bringing about a shift in Royal Mail's position. I have no doubt about that. And I don't believe that will change once we're in January versus Christmas. Yes, people believe that Christmas is a pivotal moment because the traffic's higher at this time of the year. But the reality is that we've got to keep the pressure on. We've got to be ready to do that. We are going to try and see if there's a little bit of a natural break after the Christmas holiday between the eves and early in January to try and see if we can pursue, a settlement at that time. So that's the reality of it. You've got to stick with the strike action. I know you will. And no, we don't lose all our leverage just because of Christmas.
Thanks, Dave. Spot on. I think Andy's trying to get back on. Whilst he's trying to get back on because he's not connected, I'm going to come at you on, Dave, and ask you something. A few members have been saying they've seen the ACAS, stuff all over the internet, and that if after 12 weeks Royal Mail can sack us, and really scared about that, and the union are not reinsuring us. Can you guarantee we're not going to be sacked? So I really want you to nail that 12-week thing, Dave, for the members.
Yeah, so look, the government introduced as part of their new legislation that if you're involved in an industrial dispute and you take strike action, even when it's done legally, that after a 12-week period, the employer can sack people. But the caveat there, and we've got to make this point absolutely clear, they can only sack all of the workforce. So that would be pretty much an Armageddon moment if the company decided to sack the entire workforce. If you look at some of the other disputes that are going on at the moment, I mean, they haven't implemented that clause in any of the other disputes, employers or the government. We don't believe that's going to happen. And so, the truthful answer is yes, they can do it, but they can't selectively dismiss on that basis. They've got to sack effectively about 130,000 postal workers. That ain't going to happen.
Thank you, Dave. Well, I think Andy's back with us. I'm going to try and bring him in. Hello, Andy. We've got you, buddy.
Hi.
Can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can. We'll try and go with it, mate. And if not, and if you disappear again, we'll obviously have to finish up the session. I want to talk to you about something really, really important. The attacks that are taking place on our reps and our members across the country. We're now hearing of members being outrageously not just suspended, but dismissed. There will be hundreds of our reps out there and members who are saying like, oh my God, this is coming at me now. This is a fit up. This is a stitch up. Like, what is the union going to do to reassure those people, Andy?
Well, this featured very heavily in our discussions with Royal Mail at ACAS earlier this afternoon. We are pushing very hard for an amnesty. We believe that there should be an independent review or an inquiry. There needs to be scrutiny of what's gone on here. Now, Royal Mail offered to review cases that we would send to them for them to have a look at, and we're just about to do that with some cases in the Plymouth area actually. So a letter's been constructed, and we're hoping to get that off shortly. But look, what is happening here is absolutely disgraceful. They are deliberately trying to intimidate, bully, threaten, completely trumped up charges, and we're not going to tolerate this. We're not going to accept this under any, it's just not going to happen. We've got to ensure that when we get a final deal, that we get proper salvation for all of our members that have been wrongly treated, dismissed, disciplined. We're not going to leave anyone behind. We're going to make sure that everybody is treated fairly and equitably. We're not going to have this bullying going on. It's completely outrageous. We've actually had look, I don't want to put the fear of God up anybody, because we've got to ensure that we have dignity and respect on picket lines. But we've actually had a picket line supervisor sacked for activities by other people, and he's being blamed for that, even though he wasn't directly responsible for that. And this is completely and utterly unacceptable. We've raised this directly with Simon Thompson and ACAS. They know our strength of feeling on it, and they know that something's going to have to happen to move this forward in a way that can protect and safeguard our people.
Thank you, Andy. Spot on, Dave. Did you want to say anything about our reps?
Well, just to say to our reps, who are watching this, and members who are worried about their reps who have been suspended, and let's not forget as well, members who have been caught up in that category as well of trumped up charges. We cannot settle this dispute until we settle all of those cases. And like Andy, I think he put that very well there. If Royal Mail are serious about resolving these issues, the things that they say verbally, as they did today about the reps for the first time, they need to be able to put that in a statement to the union, and to confirm that there'll be an independent look at all of those cases, and that they will immediately review some of the cases that we're highlighting to them, where people have definitely been fitted up. This is a result of vicious and targeted attacks on members and reps. It's outrageous, and if they really want to do a deal, they should be creating the right atmosphere and abandoning that sort of tactic, which has put our members and reps who are affected by that in a really, really difficult place. So look, we're there to support all of our members, all of our reps who are suspended at the moment, and we're not going to settle this dispute until we resolve that issue as well.
Thanks, Dave. Swan. Andy, one of the things that's coming up from quite a few of our members is Royal Mail saying constantly, and you're hearing CEO and other board members saying, we're on the side of customers, we're doing this for the customers, and loads of members making, the absolute point, spot on point in the comments here, saying, I work in a caller's office, we serve the customers, and they're trying to close us down. They're trying to close down one of the actual points of entry and contact between customers and our members. I mean, it just doesn't make any logical sense if you're truly trying to grow the business, does it?
Well, let's be clear. The public, the wider society is massively on our member side. The feedback we get from our members out day in, day out, customer facing, is that the customers are actually saying, well done, congratulations, we're behind you, and they're supporting the dispute, because they know it's the CW and its members we're making this sacrifice, are doing everything we can to protect and safeguard this wonderful service. We want Royal Mail to have a future. We want Royal Mail to continue delivering to 32 million addresses 6 days a week as parcels and letters. And that's not the case with Royal Mail. The closure of the customer service points is a case in point. You know, the bottom line is they're facing two ways at once. They're claiming that what we're damaging the customer, but their actions and attitude is doing likewise. So, you know, look, I take that with a pinch of salt. The bottom line is our members are right. They're defending the service, they're defending the jobs, but they want to ensure that there's going to be a service there for years to come.
Thank you, Andy. Brilliant. Dave, I'm going to come to you if I can now. I want to pick up on something that there's been a bit of back and forth with Royal Mail's communications, our communications, which is last week, I think it was Friday, where Royal Mail thought they had a really, really powerful piece in the Telegraph that were telling all the people to be scared because they had £1.7 billion in the bank ready to take out the union and destroy postal workers. And then when they realised how ridiculous that statement was and how much basically it alienated them in the public side, because they were saying, if you've got that money, sort the bloody dispute out. In our members' eyes, because, you know, they were saying, how can you be on at us about losing £1 million a day and you're showing off to the Telegraph that you got £1.7 billion to defeat the union? So if there was some back and forth, I wondered what you'd make of that and what the union's making of that. Is like, you know, is this something we're going to hit the company with?
Yeah, we did that today. We raised it today directly with the CEO about what's the point in him boasting about having a £1.7 billion war chest to take on the union. And, you know, if they've got that money, we'll then put that money and invest it in the workforce, both in terms of their pay, which they deserve a better deal than what the company are offering, but also investing in a joint strategy for growth. So, you know, when we hear that, we just come back to that point that they're facing so many different ways. So what have we actually heard? We've heard them say that they're going to be bankrupt in a matter of weeks. We've heard them front up their major shareholders by saying, we've got a plan, you know, stick with us, everything's going well, we'll get through this. And then we've heard them say things like 1.7 billion war chest to take the union on. It just brings you back to the key point of a lack of trust in the leadership of Royal Mail, a lack of trust, I think, in the integrity that they've displayed throughout this dispute, because their behaviour is unlike any other set of leaders that we've ever dealt with. Maybe there's one group I can remember back, those of you who remember a long time back, Alan Layton and Adam Crozier tried one or two similar tactics, but these people have taken it to another level. And, you know, our response to that is just, you don't need to make those threats. If you want to resolve the dispute, then use that money to invest in pay and the future strategy for growth in the industry.
Thank you, Dave. Spot on. I'll come back to Andy now. One of the things that quite a few members are saying, Andy, is quite a few people are saying they've seen the CEO, they've seen the managing director and other characters propping up in their offices in the last couple of days, and also seeing some strange scenes of like tons and tons of mail there. It's being moved out of the way. Someone comes in, they have a photo, they go, and the mail's moved back. I mean, I'm not sure, but like, you know, just a. I lost Andy. You got you back, buddy?
I didn't get most of that, but
yeah, no, sorry, it's our Wi-Fi just hit again. I was just going to say that Simon Thompson and other leading figures are out and about in workplaces, and they're saying to people that you know, the mail's down and they're clearing things up and all that sort of stuff, and there's a big sort of fake operation going on. I wonder what our view on that was.
Yeah, okay. So Simon Thompson joined the ACAS talks from Greenford Mail Centre, and I've seen photographs of him with his bodyguard, and I'm told he had a few more in tow as well. I don't know why he feels he needs to have that, because our members are always respectful and dignified. The bottom line is we've got very cast iron evidence that from Croydon and Gatwick and Greenford, that Mal has been moved out just prior to him turning up, so that the plant managers can show that there's not a backlog and there's not a problem. I mean, they're deluding themselves, and they're trying to hoodwink people. If Simon Thompson wants to believe there's no problems, then, you know, fine, that's down to him. But we know that they're orchestrating and manipulating a situation where there is masses of backlogs and hiding it and trying to put Yorks on trailers and God knows what else. Is not going to deal with the problem. The problem is sort this out, Simon. Let's have further negotiations, intensive during the eves, early in the new year, and let's thrash out a real deal that gives, you know, job security for everybody, and that includes the people in closing units like SAC Veeds, in the customer service points and such like. So yeah, look, a bit of theatre. It's quite amusing, but I mean, it's just not real, is it really?
Apologise for the Wi-Fi issues. Thank you for that answer, Andy. Apologies for the Wi-Fi issues again. We're trying to rectify them. Someone's just asked if Simon Thompson's in charge of the Wi-Fi. I think the answer to that's no. We've at least got it working in part, so the answer to that must be no. Dave, I'm going to come to you. Actually, quite a good segue there. I think this dispute's lasted so long, maybe 3 months ago, the union, yourself, Andy, Terry Pullinger at the time when he was before he went off sick, we're highlighting the fact that there was some shadowy behaviour in the background of this dispute, that there was the potential for the company to be taken over by a Czech-based, Luxembourg-based Czech billionaire, Daniel Kretinsky, and his via his equity group, Vesa Holdings. And we were told, no, that was an absolute lie, and you know there was legal ramifications if we continued, etc., etc. Today, Vesa Holdings have bought an extra 1% of Royal Mail. Does that dark sort of figure continue to be in the background of this dispute in your view, Dave?
I think the potential takeover of Royal Mail by that private equity investment group has been lurking in there for months and months, and I think it's fairly obvious in the way that the company react to other shareholders. So there's a battle going on in the boardroom of the Royal Mail Group as to who can do the most, I think, in truth, to satisfy all of the major shareholders that they're going to get greater and greater returns. And that's where I think we feel that the company have moved their position in the sense of, like, as this dispute has gone on, I don't mean in a good way here, that they clearly have got an eye on that takeover, and that's why they talk sometimes in the way they do about the changes they need, because all of that language only appeared once it became in the open domain that they was potentially facing that. So I think we can look at that very seriously. It's hard at the moment to judge who would be worse for us, the existing leadership or a takeover by a private equity investment group. So, you know, of course it's lurking in the background. It's real. And as you said, when we first raised it, the company couldn't wait to write to us and say, oh, this is, you know, you're threatening us with legal stuff. Nothing ever materialised, like it never does from the company. So it's lurking in the background. There's boardroom power struggles going on. And we're going to have to contend with that at the same time as trying to find a resolution to this dispute.
Thank you, Dave. Andy, final question for both of you, and then I'll give you a moment or so just to sum up to the members ahead of the action. One of the things that the union's been busy doing is, throughout the dispute, and we're obviously continuing to do it now, is to ensure that there's always things going on. We're always trying to put pressure on the employers. We've secured a Westminster Hall debate at the start of January. We've got a select committee, which is going to be really interesting. Hopefully we'll get to see yourself, Dave, and we'll also maybe get to see Simon Thompson and some of the Royal Mail managers called to that. And we've got the shareholder meeting in January as well. So just wanted to give you a chance really to reassure the members that we are firing on a number of fronts to win this dispute.
Okay, absolutely. So look, there's a political dimension to this dispute. Obviously the industrial action, lobbying, key politicians is vitally important. Then we've got the press and media as well, which you lead on, Chris. So look, there's many facets to this, and we have to try and exert as much pressure as possible on the Royal Mail board, on the senior people to, you know, address our concerns, meet us on the negotiations, and, you know, thrash out an agreement. So yes, that key political activity, Westminster Hall debate, select committee, and of course that shareholders meeting, all vital activities that we are going to be pushing hard. We're going to be lobbying, we're going to be seeking to influence those forums and those debates. So look, we will leave no stone unturned to make sure that the union's members' voice is heard everywhere, including in Westminster in Parliament.
Spot on, Andy. Thank you, mate. Dave, your last question before I give Andy and yourself a moment to sum up is, we've got LBC in less than 2 hours now. We're going to head off over there to in a minute. Got another hour of national radio, really time, so really well listened to program. We want the members, if you're on this session, we want you ringing in, we want you texting in. Numbers are on our Facebook page. Dave, looking forward to that session?
Yeah, as always, looking forward to being able to give you know, a good account of what this dispute is about, of where we are at the moment, and obviously to highlight the important role that postal workers play on National Postal Workers Day. That, you know, hopefully the listeners will understand that, even if the employer doesn't recognise the value of our members going forward. So yeah, very much looking forward to it. We'll give a good account of ourselves, and I'm sure our members will also use that time, and a few of them phone in and put their side of the story as well.
Thanks, Dave. Brilliant, mate. Quite a few people are asking why you and Simon, or Andy and Simon, or whatever, doesn't have a TV debate. I think we've covered that one off. We've invited them on to our Facebook. We've invited them on Sky. LBC have invited them on. For whatever reason, he doesn't come on. Make your own mind up on that. Andy, our members, this is obviously, we've got videos and stuff going out tomorrow. We've got posts from guys, etc. But this is the last time live ahead of the strike action with our members, in all probability. Your message to them ahead of on the need to take to the picket lines and back the dispute on Friday and Saturday this week.
Okay, so look, our members are absolutely immense, hardcore. You know, I can't say enough tributes about the solidarity and unity, the defiance and and the determination that our members have. We're going to be taking action on the 23rd and 24th, and that will be the 17th and 18th days of strike action since the end of August. That's amazing. We would have preferred not to have been in this position. We would have preferred to have reached an agreement much sooner. But the blame for that lies at the door of Royal Mail. They did make a move last week on the job security, and we need to pursue that with more, you know, get down and delve into that and understand that better. But look, we are making progress. The talks today were interesting. The communication channels remain open, and I'm optimistic that we will meet again in the not too distant future. And hopefully we can make further progress and bring this dispute to an end. I'd just like to say thank you for everybody, all grades across the whole of the Royal Mail Group. Every single one of you matters, no matter what you do. If you are customer facing, obviously, you know, you're deemed as a postie, but there's all the workers behind that as well. Our members do a whole range of different jobs across parts of.
Thank you there, and his Wi-Fi.
And he was definitely saying thank you. It's unfortunate that we're not able to hear Andy's last comments, but you know, he would have said thanks to the members, and he would have said we're going to do everything possible to reach an agreement. We are seeing signs of movement now. There's no doubt about that. So the strikes are having an impact, and what's crucial now is that we see this through. So we want your support out there, visible on Friday and Saturday on the picket lines in the same sort of numbers that you've been out there previously. And if you do that and we carry on putting the pressure on the employer, there's no doubt about it, we will see further movement from the employer and we will reach an agreement. And let's hope that we can do that as soon as possible after Christmas. Thank you, Dave. Also, thank you to Andy. Apologise, I think Andy had one or two Wi-Fi issues there. We're going to get that sorted. But I think everyone got the message from both Andy
and Dave. You can see in the comments how overwhelmingly supportive everyone is. Get on the picket line Friday, get on the picket line Saturday, show your support, and we're going to win this dispute. Get on to LBC at 6 o'clock tonight as well. Take it easy.
Thanks, everyone. Cheers.